Hello, hello, and welcome to our first SAP Community virtual tour with the SAP Champions. So this is indeed our kickoff call for a series. We are going to have every first and third Tuesday of a month, a call with the community and rotating SAP champions who are presenting and talking in an informal environment about their experience with the SAP community. And they are trying to help you to find out maybe something new, maybe something you already are aware of. I mean, we are all still learning, right? And we have every couple months new features in the community. So we thought it would be nice to engage on a regular basis on the features, functionalities of SAP Community, and to exchange about community topics. So this is not only about features and functionalities, it's really also about how to find your way in the community as a developer, as a non-technical person, how to engage with other community members. So I'm super proud to have the possibility to kick this off. My name is Kati Nonhebel. I'm with the Community Influencers team and especially responsible here for the SAP Champions. And today I would like to introduce you to our first SAP champion presenting this series. It's Bärbel Winkler. Hi, Bärbel.
Hi, everybody.
Are you excited, Bärbel, to kick this off with the first, having the first session?
Yes, should be fun, hopefully. That's the plan.
Absolutely. It is very informal, so you can use the group chat here on the right side. And you can already ask questions. Bärbel is going to present 15 minutes. And after that, we start a discussion and you can ask your questions directly to Bärbel. And we have also other SAP champions here in the call and also other people from our community influencers team. So handing over to Bärbel. Welcome, everyone. And thank you, Bärbel. Go for it.
You're welcome. So hi again, everybody. Nice that you're joining the call. So I'll go right ahead and share my screen.
And while you do that, feel free to turn on your camera. It's not a must, but especially later when we have our discussion and you feel comfortable, would be cool.
So can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. So as Kati mentioned, this is an informal call about SAP Community and what we have on offer. I've been active for a couple of years. I work at Kirche in the IT department, and I do some ABAP development, but also some coordination stuff. And for all kinds of things, SAP Community comes in very handy. It all started in 2003, just to give you a bit of a background about the community, as the then SAP Developer Network. And a while later, it was renamed and revamped as SAP Community Network, which is when, and I checked that, I went back into the history of the stuff. In about, I think, 2007, I actually had my first active interaction with the community when I asked my first question, which then also happened to be the only question for quite some time. A while later, the community network transformed into what we now have, the SAP community. And there's quite a lot of activity and engagement in the community. So there are 2.8 million monthly visitors, and we have 119,000 blog posts in community and almost 1 million questions that have been answered. So there is bound to be something in it for almost everybody, either to read or to check or to obviously contribute in form of writing blog posts or asking or answering questions. And there are a lot of areas where you can be active, where you can collaborate with others, where you can learn from others, provide information for others, and obviously just also enjoy all the offerings of the community. Time is too short to actually talk about all of them. I'll focus on the first three, the Q&A, blogs, and coffee corner, because this is the area that I have the most interactions and activities in. But before I come to those, I'll just briefly show you some of the other offerings that are out there and how I use some of them, or how you may perhaps already have used them. So on the events page, you might actually have stumbled upon our virtual tour announcement for today. The next announcement will show up soon. The screenshot is already a couple of days old when I captured it. So you can always check whether there's a Stammtisch in your area. At the moment, most of them are virtual for obvious reasons, but they might also happen again face to face, and hopefully not the too distant future. If you want to learn about either the community or special focus on developers, so all kinds of development topics, head over to the tutorials pages, where a lot of missions and tasks and small things, large things, beginner topics, everything is there, and a lot of stuff gets added regularly. If you are looking for specific topics, then the expert pages or the topical pages are a good starting point. And a while ago, I noticed that there's one that is near and dear to my heart. There's also a topical page for Climate 21 for that fairly new SAP initiative. If you like, you can also showcase and build your reputation with the badges that are given out for completing certain tasks, writing a certain number of blog posts, helping others with answering questions, and all kinds of other options. So you can get quite a colorful showcase of your badges over time. You also have an option to use direct messaging with other community members. There's just one caveat, that direct messaging only works for people who follow each other. So if you are following somebody, start following somebody because you'd like to engage, then you have to hope that he or she also follows you back, and then you can make use of the messages. So this was the quick part of the presentation through those additional offerings. So the areas that I'm most active in are, for example, Q&A, which I consult fairly regularly because I always have a question where I might find an answer here, or where I could also post an answer if I don't find anything anywhere. And it's really a good idea to first search the questions that are already out there, because as you saw on one of the earlier slides, a lot of questions have already been asked and answered. And it's very likely that the issue that you now have was also encountered by somebody else earlier on. So there's a good chance that you'll find perhaps not the direct answer, but something that will help you find the proper answer, or to ask the right question to find it. So very often I start with discussions with colleagues. I search on the internet, in the community, for something that is bothering me, where I don't know how I could tackle it. And once, it's hard to tell, but sometimes there's the tipping point of when, well, I think might be time to ask the community if they can help. So I often ask technical questions. when I have a specific issue that I'd like to resolve. And sometimes I also ask more philosophical questions. There is no right or wrong answer. It is just basically to start a discussion and to get some feedback, input of how something could be done. And in a lot of cases, you get quite a lot of good feedback that is helpful for whatever you have in mind, what you'd like to do, so that you then have additional options of what you can discuss with others. So here's a case study, something that we hinted at in the introduction to the call. And it's something that I'm really glad that happened, because it's an example of how helpful SAP Community can be. A couple of years ago, we started to look into the ATC, the ABAP test cockpit options, because we wanted to set up a central instance of that. And I was starting to actually look at what is the information that you can glean from the results and how can you get at them. And what was always bothering me was that I didn't have a means to do that in batch, so that I basically could feed in, I don't know, a couple of programs or several transport requests or something else, and to then just get the results back, or at least to trigger the checks and then to look at the results. And on and off, I had been searching for something, but I didn't find anything. So I finally, in February 2017, I wrote a not very long and detailed question in the community at shortly after 8 in the morning. And usually it takes, I don't know, a day longer until I get a result to the questions that I ask. But in this case, and I think it was fairly record-breaking, the answer came within not even an hour. So it was just even before the breakfast break that I had a good lead of what I could try, and not just the mentioning of a class that I could use, but also right away example programs for how the class can be used. So I looked at the example programs, copied them into my own version, tweaked it a bit to make it fit what we needed to check and verify, because the naming was obviously different between the example and what we had to look at. And around lunchtime, I already had more than a prototype up and running. So I could immediately basically incorporate the logic into a program that I already had. So that was a very, very good and quick turnaround. And that leads me into the next topic that we have on community, the blog posts. I had written blog posts about other stuff on other websites, more like climate related things, but it never really occurred to me to also write blog posts in SAP Community. But that changed in 2018 when I got encouragement from SAP Community members to not just stick with Q&A, but to also turn some of the information into blog posts. So I'm out there around a bit, and then I started writing blog posts for SAP Community, and I'm really glad that I did. I wasn't sure to begin with of what would be good topics for blog posts. So I then went into Coffee Corner, which is a good place to ask questions about more general things, SAP Community related, also some other more general stuff, discussions and chats that you'd have in an actual Coffee Corner as well. So I used that to post a question about whether it's worthwhile, allowed, whatever, to turn something that started out as a Q&A thread into a blog post. I didn't necessarily want to duplicate information, so I was just wondering whether it's okay to do, whether it made sense to do that. And I quickly got feedback on that question as well, and that it's good to do that it's fine to do that others have been doing that as well. And it's a fairly easy start to write a blog post based on something that you already have, perhaps not in a good sequence yet because it's in a discussion from Q&A, but you're bound to have quite a lot of information already available, perhaps also some screenshots from when the discussion happened. So it's a fairly easy thing to turn a discussion thread into a blog post. And this is what I did. And one of the first, I think it was the second or third blog post that I wrote, was to write up the Q&A thread about triggering multiple ATC checks in one go. And then later I started writing blog posts on a more regular basis. So for one, also on the ATC topic with the ABAP test cockpit, as we were setting out to set up our central ATC system, I knew that I had to write some documentation for my own sake and for my colleagues' sake anyway. I had jotted down notes here and there and some internal documentation, but I used that to write it up properly as we moved along in a series of blog posts, which I find is quite a neat thing because it helps me getting stuff organized in my mind and to also just document it so that it's available later. That I myself can go back and read through it again after a while, and obviously also helpful, hopefully, for others. And sometimes I also just have to write something to get it off my chest, like my ongoing struggles with wrapping my head around anything ABAP OO with ABAP objects. And some of these discussions, they really had a lot of comments and a lot of interactions. And I learned a lot from them as well. So I hope that this whetted your appetite a bit for those of you who are new to SAP Community, to get in there, to become active. So obviously visit the SAP Community. If you don't have one already, create a community profile. Make sure to set the privacy settings to what you want to have them be. And please upload a profile picture because it's always nice to know how people look like if you interact with them online. A good place to get into blogging, into Q&As, also to check out the community tutorials on the developer sap.com section of SAP Community. And then just go into Q&A, into blogs, read up on things, get a feeling for how people write, how they ask questions, how they answer questions, how they interact with each other. And you can do that for your topical areas by following specific tags, people, or complete topical areas. And then every once in a while, head over to the coffee corner area where you can have more informal back and forth with other community members. And a good place to start is also the big resources page, the overview page in Community. So that's about it from me. And I'd be very interested if you have comparable stories already to tell where SAP Community came to the rescue, so to speak, where you got quick results and quick feedback to questions, problems that you had, or anything else. And obviously, feel free to ask questions. I'll try my best, and others are there as well to answer them. So that's it from me for now. Thanks for listening.
Cool. And cool to hear that SAP Community helped you in your daily business, in your job, right?
Yep.
So that's really a kind of success story.
And it's fun. It's fun interacting with people.
Yeah, absolutely. And any questions here to Bärbel or to someone from the team here? Feel free to ask anything tricky. No?
So I started already putting my profile here into the chat. So maybe the team will want to do this as well. So people can already join, follow us, and we can follow them back. Starting to get connections. What about that?
Okay.
Good idea.
How can I follow you, Svea? So
Bärbel, it was a great presentation. I like it very much.
Thanks. You knew some of the slides.
So and maybe I can ask a question, yeah, because I'm more a shy writer. I'm a good not shy in speaking, but I always think, oh, when I blog something, when I write a blog post, then maybe people think it's not interesting, and then they're bashing me, and they don't like it, and then they put thumbs down and stuff like that, and then I'm banned out of the SAP community. Is that something I have to fear, or is it just write what I think and it's welcoming? I don't know. I did some, but I'm from SAP. So is it easy to start with, Bärbel? Or have you been shy in the beginning too?
I guess for me, it always depends on whether I have a good hook to write something. So it's not that somebody throws me something and then write about that. That usually doesn't work for me. So I have to be in the right mind to write something. And then it usually writes itself to a certain extent. And what I'd sometimes like to have is a second set of eyes to actually read through it before I publish it. But we don't have that option easily on SAP Community. In some cases, I think it just helps to get a second opinion of how worthwhile it is or what could be added before you actually post it. But apart from that, for me, I've been lucky. The community has been very welcoming. So as I said, some of the blog posts or questions that I post, they triggered interesting discussions, positive, interesting discussions. So.
Mm. And there are also the blogging tutorials, not only guidelines. There's also good stuff you can read on how to write a blog post, yeah, with a introduction, main part, conclusion, how to make it more interesting for the reader.
Some pictures in between, stuff like that.
Right. So a question to the people here in the call. So maybe you can raise your hand. Who needs to write a blog post still? Who did not yet? Darren, okay. Abinat, okay. Taking the notes. Anyone else? Okay, because in that case, I'm doing now something that I should maybe not record. So if you write a blog post, I can promise you that we will check it and we will review it. Is that a good thing? And we will give you some tips and tricks. So the team behind that is here: Audrey, Jerry, Menina, and Svea, and Julia, and Lena. So when we are able to help you to write your first blog post. Darren and Abinat, how's that? Deal?
It may be a couple weeks, but I'll get around to it before the 1st of September for sure.
Okay, that's fine.
A great one to start with always is a blog it forward post, right? Those are nice to introduce yourself to the community.
Yeah. You guys know what blog it forward is? No. So blog it forward started already a couple years ago. I think it was really Moshe Nave who started it initially. And yeah, it's really passing the blog to the next person. And then in your blog post, you answer a couple of questions that your the person is asking, the person who is before you blogging, and then appointing, or they are volunteering other people. You can volunteer, you can make someone volunteer to write the next blog post, and it's very cool. Sometimes you get double nominations, which does not mean that you have to write more blog posts, but it's a cool and fun thing, and especially to get to know the people, right?
And it's okay to start one without having it blogged forward to you also, as I think
Exactly.
Julia or Lena, I can't remember which one started, but one of them blogged to the other one.
So who wrote already a blog it forward? I think Nabid, you did, right? Florian.
I did as well.
Me too, and Lena also as well.
Yay, our newbies. And Darren, that's another thing on your bucket list then, right?
Yes.
You're right in the middle of my screen, so I'm pointing out to you.
The benefits of logging on early.
Yeah, cool. So any area we should show you, or you are unsure to explore, as we have the specialists here? So now we know how to follow each other, right? We know how to write a blog post, or we know where to find the resources.
That it doesn't hurt or bite or whatever, writing a blog post.
What about Q&As? Are you guys using Q&As? Raise your hand if you use Q&As. That would be nice to see. Svea is permanently raising her hand. Yeah, because she's using everything.
I cannot see it. I cannot see it that I raised my hand. I'm sorry. It was from the other question. So, but Abinat, he agreed that he's using with a green check mark on the right-hand side.
Very good.
So a lot of times I've been able to query and find the answer because somebody's already asked the question or something similar, and I can get the answer from that just from querying the community.
So you're using the search and then it's already answered?
Yeah, many times.
Okay. Are you then upvoting it, the answer, or are you then writing a comment?
I need to do better at that. Sometimes I've upvoted.
Cool. Yeah, because that is also a functionality that is cool to use if you really found your answer, that you can upvote it and give the author a virtual applause, right? If you found it helpful.
Has anybody already tried the new search options?
Just gonna say, I was just gonna do a shout out, Bärbel. Good.
Yeah, because I haven't actually used them yet. I always have to remind myself what the syntax and everything is, so it's still easier to just key it into Google or Ecosia search and search on site sap.com.
I've definitely been finding things more easily with the new and improved search. Yeah.
So you can search for everything, right? Just put in the search term.
Yeah, but usually up to, I don't know, that's my question, whether that changed with the new search that is in beta stage at the moment. Because to begin with, the search, I don't know, I wasn't really lucky in finding stuff when I searched via that. The hits were better with just going via Google.
I definitely encourage trying it. It's
Right.
See what you think. We'd love to hear what you think, actually. So give it a try when you have a chance.
Where can I read how it works?
Sorry?
There's a link in the chat now. I think somebody posted a link in the chat.
Ah, okay, okay. Because searching for search term in the search does not work. Don't give me the block.
When did you do that? In the new one?
Yes, right now, just a few seconds ago.
Oh. But there's a filter option too, right? So you need to unfilter stuff.
Yes, of course, but the thing is, why does the search have a default filter on question and answers?
Because you're asking a question in the search.
Got it, I got it. Okay.
No,
it's the problem in front of the computer, not the computer itself.
didn't say that. Okay, so we have the search functionality, tutorials. Oh yeah, I would like to talk about something, if that is okay. And Audrey, you are right above Darren, so I'm pointing to you now in the middle. Audrey, maybe you can tell, and this is totally unprepared, so sorry that I pull you here into the as a speaker, but with the reputation stuff and all these badges and things like that, that is really cool. You get, as Bärbel said, funny, colorful stickers.
Yeah.
How is that
Yes.
working? And can you tell a little bit about it?
Sure. So we do have a pretty robust reputation program in the community, and we have missions and badges available to be earned. And if somebody would be so kind, oh, look at that. So Jerry's added a link to the chat. Thank you.
Oh,
and if
so
you take a look at that, there's also a missions and badges specific page that lists all the missions and the badges you can earn. And we have some for answering questions. That's our solver series of badges, and some for writing blog posts, and other fun ones like the random day surprise. You don't know when that one's going to happen, and I won't tell you when the next one is coming, but you might want to be active in August sometime. So they can be fun and also challenging to achieve some of those, but there are a lot of different kinds available, and Svea might want to even give a shout out to the missions and badges around the events, because if you are willing to be organizing or volunteering at some of these events, we also have badges for that. So we have a whole range of different kinds of badges, and for anybody who's on the development side of the house, there's a whole series of badges for doing developer tutorials and also our own community tutorials. So I would definitely encourage anybody who hasn't already completed the community tutorials, meaning the tour the community. Jerry might have to help me with the names of the other ones. There's one for completing your profile. Those tutorials will also get you a badge in the community. So, and yes, in your profile itself, as Menina just noted in the chat, if you go to the reputation section of your profile, you'll see which available automated badges you can earn missions and what your progress is on those. So that's another place where you can see the missions and badges, and I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any around that as well.
I didn't know that. I only need 50% for, I don't tell you.
See, look at that. You learn something new every day.
I didn't know that. Wow.
What I learned.
That's cool. I'm just clicking here on the earned mission, so maybe you can you can check this out. Yeah, and you mentioned a special badge for the community events, right? So and now I'm pulling out Svea here, shouting out. I hope that is okay, about community events, because Svea is responsible in our team for the events driven by the community, right, Svea?
Yeah, this is correct, Ben, but that doesn't mean that we or I organizing those events, but the community is organizing those events. And Bärbel mentioned this already in the beginning of her presentation about the SAP Stammtisch. Of course, this is a German phrase. The Germans knows what it does mean, but for every other, it means kind of regular stable. So just a casual get together with a few people, with like-minded ones, talk about SAP topics. And as Bärbel also mentioned, at the moment, of course, due to the COVID situation, they are virtually, but this is a great chance to join also other Stammtisches around the world. So for example, I joined already Bern, which I would not have with traveling, of course. So this is really a nice opportunity to see the other community members in person via video like we do now. And all these events are listed on the events page. I think Bärbel showed this as well. So community main menu, events. And there you can also filter through the various options. For example, the SAP Stammtisch is more casual, a talk, and with no agenda. So you can really see who is there and about what topic you want to talk. But there are also others like ABAP Code Retreats, for example. So they formed as well this year into virtual events. And coming more to the end of the year, we try to go back to physical events. For example, I see David here. He organized the SAP Inside Track in Barcelona. And so if you are there, if you are around the corner, I don't know. So it's a possibility to join that event. And we had also very great and huge event, SAP Online Track in May, about 24, it was for 24 hours with different speakers around different topics, also very interesting. So I really recommend to check out the events page regularly, because it will be updated regularly, and see what's in there for you and engage with the other community members.
And if I want to organize one here in Palatinate in the middle of the vineyard, how do I do that?
Yeah, well, so first of all, I would recommend to read all the resources on our community page. For example, about the SAP Stammtisch, there's a separate page, and also SAP Inside Track, and there's some contact data. So in general, you can always contact community@sap.com. But also now you know that I'm the contact person. You can also contact me directly. Follow me on community. I follow you back, so we can exchange direct messaging, which Bärbel also mentioned. And then I can also get you in contact with the SIT Council, for example, for SAP Inside Tracks. It's a group of different community members who are really well known in the community, and they are really experienced with organizing events like Stammtisch and Inside Track. And we can, you can be part of a call with us, getting some insights, consulting tips, and so on, how you can start. And the best thing is always to start small with the Stammtisch, to get people on board, that you're not the only one who's organizing a huge event, but that you get more people together and try to set up something bigger then afterwards.
Mm. Thank you, Svea. That was interesting. So who of you already attended one of these community events, online or offline? Raise your hand. Jerry. No community event? Oh yeah, you did, Darren.
No, I just assumed people knew that.
No, because we don't know who you are. Right?
You don't know who I am. Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, absolutely cool thing. And I had the possibility to participate a couple of these, and it's so nice really to see and meet the people in real and to exchange and to talk about SAP topics and also non-SAP topics. Yeah, and I can't wait until we are able to meet in real. But as Svea said, it's really cool that we can now participate the Stammtisches in Bern or Frankfurt or somewhere else all over the world, right?
Yeah, I participated a couple of times at the Stammtisch in Stuttgart, and when we actually met face to face in a little restaurant, there were perhaps a small table, 4, 5, 6 people. And when that moved to an online version, then there were, I don't know, 10, 12 people, even more.
Mm.
And from obviously a bigger area. So that is an advantage of doing it virtually, because it just allows more people to participate.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that SAP Community is not only that Q&A section and the blog post section. I mean, it's really much more than that, right? It's being the people, meeting the people. And Jerry,
Can I add something, Kati?
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because I just saw that Jerry posted here the links in the chat. So we have also the wiki page. Yeah. So when you use the SAP Community events page, you can also be guided to the wiki page, which there's a possibility to follow that page so that you get email notifications. And tonight is Stammtisch. It's from Bern. I post here the wiki link as well. So if you are curious now to see what it's about, join the SAP Stammtisch Bern. This is the wiki page, which I posted here in the chat. And then you can simply click the link there, the Zoom link. It will be done via Zoom.
Is it in Schweizerdeutsch? Is it in German or is it in English?
It's depending on the participants. Of course, it can be in English. Yeah.
So everyone can join.
Of course.
Okay. And I wanted to introduce also the rest of the team, Jerry, Munina, and Julia and Lena. They didn't know that. But Jerry, because I said, well, maybe people don't know who you are, right? You're also behind the curtain, is that true?
Yeah.
And also sometimes in front.
Sometimes in front, yeah. Yeah, so I've been trying to put some additional links in the chat that I think you might find useful. As at the beginning of the call, Kati had said that this is a virtual tour with SAP Champions, and Bärbel is one of our SAP Champions. If you aren't, and we do have some other champions on the call, they're great members. So in addition to following, members of the community and influencers team, I would encourage you to follow the champions. They're really great role models for anybody who's new to the community. And I did put a link in the chat where you can learn more about the Champions program, find out who the champions are. I'm going through the process of interviewing them all. And I did have the opportunity, this was even before she became a champion, back in 2018, I talked to Bärbel for what had been known as the Member of the Month series. So there's a lot of great information on the community, various ways you can get to know one another, connect with people. So I know maybe it feels like a bit of an overload in there, but if you did see my profile link in there, please do follow me. I will follow you back. As Bärbel mentioned, once we follow one another, that means we can DM one another. And if you ever have questions, that's a great way to reach out to me as well. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back behind the curtain now. Where are you?
Thank you. You had your minute. Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, and the champions, they are really people that love to help other community members. This is why they are champions, right? And when I look on my screen here, I have also a left on the right side, not only the middle. And I see David. David, you are located in Spain, so you are establishing the Spanish-speaking community, right?
Yeah.
And you are hosting the virtual is it virtual or is it in person? I didn't get that from Svea.
It will be virtual, our next SAP Inside Track. It will be next Friday, October the 2nd. And we also celebrated recently our first SAP Stammtisch. So we did it in the right in the right side. So we started with organizing SAP Inside Track in Barcelona in 2017, and now we are building community with these regular meetings that at the moment are virtual, called SAP Stammtisch.
Cool.
It's a difficult name for Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to explain what does it mean. It's very, very funny also. But yeah, it's to find some place somewhere to exchange with SAP local community around SAP and on SAP technologies, and to find a space to talk, to networking, and so on. Yeah, I have detected a lot of interesting here in Barcelona and also in other cities of Spain who would like to join us in these regular meetings.
Nice, David. Thank you. And it's much easier for the German champions to say SAP Stammtisch, right, Florian? You also organized already a Stammtisch, and Florian Henninger is also one of our SAP champions.
And Florian is also part of the SIT Council.
Ooh.
You see? A lot
Very
to do
active.
all the time. But yeah, okay, this year I don't think I can organize an inside track or anything else in that because of this COVID thing. I would normally do a co-jam in Grafenrheinfeld at my comedy site, but because I didn't visit my comedy the last 5 months, I don't think I want to have invited any others there. But a great chance to participate on a lot of Stammtisches, as Svea mentioned already before. And today I will also go to Stammtisch Bern and to the SIT pod. I think I will also go virtually this year. So also a lot of great chances we all have right now.
Cool. Thank you, Florian. And we have also a great Stammtisch and event organizer from Brazil here. And also an SAP champion, Marcel, who's in the middle for me. Marcel, can you hear us? And
hello, Kati.
Hello. Talk about your next event that is going on.
Our next event will be a challenger here. We will be an on-site event in a new city. Fortaleza is a northern city in Brazil. So we decided to schedule on-site, and we are going to have 2 tracks on-site and 1 track virtual, just to attend people that is not comfortable to be in presence. And so let's see. Let's cheering that all this situation will get more feasible at that time. It will be in October. So then we are so excited to get back, see people, each other. All of you are talking about Stammtisch, but I'm sorry, I did not get the idea to do Stammtisch virtually. I had 2 Stammtischs canceled here in Brazil because the pandemic, but we are excited to have again event in persons. Let's see. Hope everything goes well.
Perfect. Do we have more people from Brazil here in the call? So you can directly connect with Marcel.
Let me check here if we have Carlos Lopez, maybe he's from Spain, similar to Brazil. I don't think so. I'm the only one.
Is it in Portuguese then, or will you do that in English?
Well, the next event, it's some kind of a mix. I will talk to the local organizer because there are sessions in English amongst Portuguese one. better arrange everything in different tracks just to let people know what kind of session. But we will be both languages here.
A mix.
Oh yes.
So thank you, Marcel. And Nabil is our, I think he's, I'm just looking to the list, but Nabil, I think you're the last champion here, SAP champion in the call. I would like to shout out, Nabil, you are located in India, right? Oh, I think he's maybe not dialed in, as I don't see. So Nabil is also SAP champion and in India. So you see, we have SAP champions all over the world. As we explained, just follow them, they will follow you and will help you with your questions. Right? Anything? We have 7 minutes left. So if you want to take the opportunity to talk about a community topic.
Or to ask some questions or whatever.
Exactly, that's your chance. No? I think we all filled you up with information now, right?
Everybody went away to check the community pages now.
They are now all working on the reputation.
Or on the tutorials or something.
Very cool. So, yeah, that sounds, that was really cool. And with the community events, that sounded great. And I learned also something new. As I said in the beginning, every first and third Tuesday of a month, we are planning to have this as a sure fix call. Also, if you don't have questions, if you just want to see our beautiful faces, or if you want to connect with people from your country, learn something new, I think we will have always some updates and some news going on, and having our team and the SAP champions. So please participate the next call on, I think, 4th of August. And I think it will be hosted from someone in Brazil, as I remember. So stay tuned on the SAP Community Calls page, where we are listing everything, and also on the blogs. If you follow us, you can see it, and you won't miss it. And yeah, recording will be made available later, and every call will be different. So it's no excuse to say, oh, I was already in the call with Bärbel Winkler, so I don't have to participate any future calls. It will be totally different, and it's not always me hosting here. You will have also other team members and champions. It's rotating, so it won't get boring. Thank you very much. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the week, and enjoy the community tutorials and blogging and Q&As and questions and following and everything. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks. It was good seeing you. Good presentation.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Pablo.
Bye bye, everybody.